Okay, everyone, we're going to get started here shortly. Let our speakers get seated. Can everybody hear me up top on top of the hill? Thumbs up. All right, great, great. All right, speakers, can we get settled? Do I have a thumbs up from the tent over here? Yeah. All righty. Good afternoon. I am Will Smith. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy, and thank you all for joining us today. It is a special day indeed, and one a lot of people have been looking forward to, including Mr. Wallace as he created this vision out of his front door. Welcome to those of you who are with us today in person. Also welcome to those of you who are on Facebook Live. This is a big crowd, and I can see that there are a lot of people that are excited about this project. Today, we celebrate the grand opening of the Southwest Greenway. Can I get an applause for that? In addition, we are also sharing some exciting updates on the Unified Greenway Campaign that we announced to you a few months ago. The Southwest Greenway is a significant milestone in the Conservancy's vision of transforming the riverfront from bridge to bridge and building connections into our Detroit neighborhoods. It is now my privilege to introduce Mr. Mark Wallace, President and CEO of the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy. Mark is a tremendous leader for our organization. He is the man with the vision, the man who had this vision, the man who's on a mission. I'm proud to call him my colleague and my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mark Wallace.
Thank you, William. Man, welcome everybody here today. What a beautiful time to gather together and to celebrate this moment. For 13 years, I lived about 3 blocks away from where we're standing right now. And I can't count the number of times that I crossed this bridge going over to Honeybee Market to get some chorizo or guacamole or to do some grocery shopping. Corktown, Mexican Town, and Southwest Detroit are really close to the Detroit Riverfront, but they don't feel like it. People who live in these neighborhoods often feel like they're miles away from the river because of all the industry, all the traffic that you see on Fort Street. This Southwest Greenway will have a profound impact on these neighborhoods by providing a new path that's easy, that's safe, and that's fun for residents of Corktown, Mexican Town, and Southwest Detroit to get to the Detroit Riverfront. We're continuing to make great progress on the construction of Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Centennial Park, and we know that the Southwest Greenway is going to be full of people heading to that park to make lifelong memories there. 20 years ago, the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy was founded by General Motors, the Kresge Foundation, and the City of Detroit. Their investments have had a far bigger impact than I think any of us could have imagined at the time, and many others have joined that group over the past 20 years. Today, I'd like to thank the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation, the Michigan Department of Transportation, and the DNR Natural Resources Trust Fund for supporting this project here. In particular, I'd like to shout out J.J. Ty from Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation for helping to bring this founding coalition together. I'd also like to thank the Walters Family Foundation for their amazing investment in this space. Let's have a round of applause for the funders, please. I'd also like to thank the most amazing group of volunteers and team members I've ever worked with. The board of directors of the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy. If you're on the Riverfront board, please raise your hand. Thank you so much for your leadership in this project. Eric Larson didn't raise his hand, but he's also on our board over here. I'd like to thank the entire team at the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy, including our CFO, Will Smith, who has signed every single check that has made anything happen on the Detroit Riverfront, and Cassie Brinsky, our Chief Development Officer. I'd also like to thank the world's greatest volunteers, the volunteers of the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy. Thank you for all the work that you do here. It took us about 18 months to build this greenway, but it actually took us about 5 years before that to acquire all the property that we needed for this project. And a lot of people worked hard to make that happen. In particular, Carrie LaJuan Monroe, Luke Polson, who's now with the city, and Marion Parshall from Honeyman for making this happen. Just amazing leadership. I'd also like to thank Bedrock and the Salvation Army for helping us with the land that we needed to build this greenway. And then the project team has been amazing. The folks from Turner Construction, Oscar and Angelo, the folks from IF Rady, Smith Group, who designed the project. And in particular, I'd like to thank two leaders who have been with the Riverfront Conservancy for quite a long time, Daryl Greer and Rhonda Collins. Please raise your hand. These are the project managers who made this happen. Daryl, Rhonda, amazing, amazing leadership for our city. I'd also like to thank Ford and the entire team at Michigan Central for their amazing gift of $5 million, which will allow us to keep this place clean, safe, and beautiful forever. And as part of this partnership, Ford is going to be connecting us with technologies, some of which don't even exist today, technologies we've never heard of. And together, we're going to see what we can do to make it easier for people to move around this neighborhood and easier for people to move around this city. Michigan Central's team has provided amazing support, including building restrooms that we can use for our visitors and building the two plazas that you'll see as you move throughout the Greenway. These are gifts on top of the vision, on top of the investment that they made of the $5 million. These are additional enhancements that Michigan Central has brought to this project to support the community, and we're so thrilled and so grateful for that. Mary Culler from Ford saw this vision and understood the importance of this project immediately. She's been a steadfast leader of this work. She's a friend. She is a board member of the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy, and she's the chair of Michigan Central. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mary Culler.
Good afternoon. How's everyone doing? This is an amazing and beautiful day. And Mark's right. I have to tell you that when we first acquired the train station and we started to think about what the vision could be for this area, I met early on with Mark, and he talked about this greenway. And it became probably one of the most, I think, visionary and exciting aspects to what we could do to bring communities together. So today, I think, is an incredible day because while it's been on paper, we've seen drawings, we've actually stood from a very high floor in the station and looked down to see what this could become. And here's the day. It's opening today. And so I'm really excited. I want to thank Mark for his leadership. I also want to thank the mayor, of course, who's here today, and President Mary Sheffield. These projects don't happen without really collaboration. And when Mark said it took 5 years, he's not kidding. I mean, the assemblage of the property and all the things that had to go into this, I don't think people can really appreciate just all the hard work that's been done by his team. This is a big milestone. We opened our book depository building a couple of months ago, and this mobility hub behind you, as Mark said, originally we hadn't really incorporated things like bathrooms in there. But as we started to think about the Greenway, we wanted it to be an amenity that really brought community together. And when you think about the Greenways, not only this one, but the ones that are being created even further, that's what they are. They're ways to connect neighborhoods, ways to bring people together. And we hope that this place that you're standing in today will be a wonderful place where folks can just come and hang out and have lunch, grab their bike, park their car, and get on this portion of the Greenway, but then connect to the much bigger Greenway that is coming. And I want to thank Matt Cullen for his leadership. There's no better leader in the city of Detroit who brings the corporate world together and the philanthropic world together to envision these great projects. And so, You know, I could go on and on about this. I can't tell you how excited I am. You know, as we think about our innovation district, as Mark said, we really wanted this greenway in particular to be one that was future-proofed, that really thought about how we can think about innovation and how we can think about access to folks who maybe can't walk or ride a bike like others can. And so you're going to see some interesting mobility solutions, I think, that bring people to these kinds of amenities and enjoy it. And then, of course, I can't, you know, not talk about Dave Egner's project, the Wilson Park, which, wow, when that comes online and we're connecting the park through this greenway to this wonderful innovation district, including the renovation of Michigan Central Station, which is coming literally so soon. I just can't wait to bring it back for Detroiters. So thank you all for coming today and celebrating with us. I hope you get on the Greenway and really enjoy it. And just remember that, you know, this is all about neighborhoods and community and really bringing back, you know, just community opportunities to be together. So thank you, everyone, and thanks for the leadership shown by the Detroit River Conservancy. Thank you.
One more round of applause for Miss Mary Culler and Ford and everything they've done. Thank you, Mary. Thank you for your leadership with this project. Your team is doing incredible things in the city, and we're so excited to be a part of what you're building here at Michigan Central. Now, I want you to bring up my guy, Mr. Matt Cullen. Matt wears many hats. Matt is the chairman of the Conservancy Board. He's the only chairman we've ever known, and he's been with us since the very beginning. Even before I started working with the Conservancy almost 20 years ago, Matt is also one of the leading architects for the Unified Greenway Campaign. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for my guy, Mr. Matt Cullen.
Thanks, Will. Thank you, everybody, for being with us today. Another beautiful day in the city of Detroit. I know Mark did this, but I'd like to ask one more time for the board members of the Conservancy to raise your hand and be recognized. And I'd like to add on to that the board members of the Joe Louis Greenway Partnership that are here today, too. Tremendous group that's been doing a lot of work already. You know, it's been, as Will said, 20 years since we launched the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy, and in those 20 years, we've had a lot of occasions to come together to celebrate. I mean, after all, it would be probably fair to say that we were the worst riverfront in the United States 20 years ago, and now, 20 years later, we've been voted the #1 riverfront in the United States 3 years in a row, thanks to Mark and the team and all of the great efforts. So quite a change and a lot of things to celebrate during that period of time, but it seems to me like we've never really had as big an occasion to celebrate as today. So let me kind of unpack all the different announcements, the world's longest press release and everything else, and try and unpack that a little bit and let people understand the magnitude of what's taking place today. First, the Southwest Greenway. As Mark and Mary highlighted, this is going to connect the riverfront and the beautiful Wilson Park up to Corktown, Mexican Town, and Michigan Central. In itself, that's a really big deal, and it's been a dream for many of us for decades. But the Southwest Greenway is also going to connect the riverfront to the Joe Louis Greenway, and that transformative project is our second cause for celebration today. Significant construction is already underway on this 27-mile greenway. Think about that, 27 miles when you combine the two. That's going to link 23 Detroit neighborhoods, as well as Hamtramck, Highland Park, Dearborn, and ultimately, according to Megan Elliott, to our neighbors in Canada by way of the Gordie Howe Bridge. So she told me to get that in. So that's very cool as well. The Joe Louis Greenway is going to tie together parks, schools, jobs, and a wide array of community resources. Our city is going to be more beautiful, neighborhoods will be stronger, and the economic opportunity made possible by this landmark investment will be equitable and accessible. The third big component of today's celebration is the Unified Greenway Campaign. I'm really personally proud of this unique campaign that came together as a partnership between the city of Detroit and the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy. I think we realized that the power of the combined vision that we had would allow us to reach out to a corporate philanthropic and governmental funders with really a compelling case for support. It's fair to say, I think, that our vision was a bold one. We set out to raise $350 million. Why 350? Because we wanted the money necessary to complete the riverfront, to build out the entire Joe Louis Greenway, and establish endowments that's going to allow us to sustain both projects for generations to come. So fast forward 18 months or so, and as we gather here today, I'm incredibly happy to share that thanks to support from every segment of our community and a lot of the folks in the tent over here, we have already received $229 million in commitments. So how about a round of applause for that? It's really incredible. I mean, I've been involved in, participated in, researched a lot of campaigns over the years, and I'd have to say this is one of the most significant campaigns for and successful ones for public space in the country. That $229 million includes more than $70 million in new funding commitments that we are announcing today. So let me go through that list. The Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation for $35 million. The William Davidson Foundation, $20 million. The Gilbert Family Foundation, $15 million. The W.K. Kellogg Foundation, special thanks to our former CEO, Faye Nelson, $5 million. And our first and one of the favorite funders, Hudson Weber Foundation, for $500,000. That $70 million that I just talked about is on top of $150 million in public funds from the state of Michigan, Wayne County, and the city of Detroit. We're going to hear more about that. Our total of $229 million also includes previously announced commitments to the Conservancy from the Fred A. and Barbara M. Erb Family Foundation, Ford Motor Company, as we've heard about, and Huron Clinton Metro Parks are here today as well. So big news on that. One more reason to celebrate. So this will be four for those that are kind of keeping score. And it's really a big one. We've got a recent commitment from the city of Detroit to provide $3 million of ongoing annual operating support for both the Riverfront and the Joe Louis Greenway. Thank you to Mayor Duggan, Council President Mayor Sheffield for this tremendous announcement. I think we actually, Council President, 9-0 vote, I think. So it just shows, I think, the kind of support that we have. So thank you for all your leadership there. So I hope now that you can understand why I think today is such a big deal. We got a lot of work to do, but today's announcements are going to serve, I really think, as a catalyst for us to be able to be successful with the balance of the campaign, and are certainly going to have a profound impact on Detroiters today and for generations to come. So one final round for all of the funders, and then I got a couple other things to say. So we're really honored about the organizations and the major funders that have come to bear to bring us here. And we're going to hear from them as we go forward. But I need to take a minute and thank some individuals as well, because we wouldn't be here without these individuals. I mean, again, this is a really unique campaign. There's no letterhead, there's no mailing address for this Unified Greenway Campaign. It's a group of people that came together and said, we're going to collaborate and do things in a different way to get this done. So, and I apologize in advance because I could probably recognize everybody. You're going to think that I have when I'm done, but I haven't. So I got to shout out Brad Dick, Megan Elliott, Dara O'Byrne, Hassan Beydoun, Christina Peltier, Juliana Smoot, Lydia Ray Levinson, and Katie Trudeau, to name just a few from the city of Detroit. The regional CEO group has been tremendously supportive. Their representatives have been heavily involved, especially in fundraising. Jerry Anderson, Dave Meter, Nancy Moody, Jared Fleischer, Dave Pelzrak, Pat Harrington, and John Blanchard. Round of applause for them. The Joe Louis Greenway Partnership, including Chair Alexis Wiley, Interim Leader Laura Trudeau, who's here today, has done a tremendous job, and our new Executive Director, Liana Medley. We can't raise this kind of money without great fundraisers, and we have a lot of those to celebrate. We've got our friends from CCS here today, Eleanor Houston, Lindsay Marciniak, and Elizabeth Garrison. And our hometown rock stars, Cassie Brensky and Stephen Bobolik, are here as well. So a round of applause for them. Eric Larson's here. He's already been recognized, but Eric has been involved with us from the very beginning here and on the Greenway project and with the support of the DDP team. So, Eric, thank you. We've got Miriam Nolan and Rick DeVore from the Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan are here. All of the money we're raising for the endowment is going to go into the Community Foundation. It's going to be in a lockbox forever. It's going to provide the resources we need to take care of that, and it's due to the stewardship of the Community Foundation of Southeast Michigan. So thank you to them. Michael Shaw and Heidi Rhyme are here from Hudson Weber. We're involved in the very first funding for our project, and they were nice enough to take a lot of folks to go see what was taking place at the Beltline in Atlanta. And that includes, of course, our friends, Wayne County Commission President Alicia Bell and Bev Watts. And we saw a lot that day, and I think it helped inspire, a lot of confidence of what we were working to do here. A couple final ones. Shout out to Matt Walters. I really don't know who he works for, but I don't even know if he gets paid, but he's been a great job and helped us in a lot of important ways. And finally, I want a personal privilege. My wife Karen's here today, and my son John, so I want to recognize them for helping me through all the great stuff. With that, I'm done. Unfortunately, there's a few left to speak, so I will. But it's my pleasure now to introduce Dave Egner. Dave is president and CEO of the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation. I can clearly say that Dave and the Wilson Foundation were the catalyst for the West Riverfront, with our commitment to the spectacular Ralph Wilson Centennial Park. And they're playing the same role for the Joe Louis Greenway, as evidenced by the very generous gift that was announced today. So, folks, a round of applause for Dave Egner.
Good afternoon. Quick question. How many of you are seeing this great greenway for the first time? How many of you broke in and walked or rode it before it was done? That's what I thought. Isn't this beautiful? It's another piece of the puzzle. It's a piece of the puzzle that's been built on the back of all of the contributors and the people that built the riverfront and had a vision for Joe Louis and the others. 20 years this has been in the making. But I want to point out it's a piece of the puzzle. It's a beautiful piece of the puzzle, and when you look at it and you see the pieces come together, whether it's the riverfront, the piece of the puzzle that's Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Park, the Warren Gateway that'll be in Joe Louis, those are all beautiful pieces to be celebrated at the time they open, because you can touch them and feel them, and you can feel the excitement. But it's not the whole picture. The whole picture is 27 miles long and connects 23 neighborhoods and puts mobility back in this city in a way that has never happened before in the last 50 to 100 years. This is a piece of the puzzle. But what brings the puzzle together is this unique thing called the Unified Greenway Partnership and its partnership with the city. My favorite definition of partnership or collaboration is an unnatural act among non-consenting adults. It's difficult to partner. Mr. Mayor, Council President, thank you for your leadership in making a partnership happen. Love what the Riverfront Conservancy continues to do in this Unified Greenway Partnership. We're so excited. The board of the foundation was so pleased to be a part of this, and I thank them for their vision in helping us move some funding forward to be a part of the whole picture. This unique contribution of the Southwest Greenway will just be continued over and over again as this puzzle's put together on the board that's being held by that Unified Partnership. So thank you all for that, and I look forward to running all 27, maybe having a ride for all 27 miles when it's done. Thanks so much.
Another round of applause for Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation. Dave, thank you so much for your support. We are incredibly appreciative of your support. The William Davidson Foundation has a tremendous legacy of supporting organizations and charitable causes throughout this community. Their support of Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Park is bringing my new office space, 2 full-size basketball courts to the riverfront in the beautiful William Davidson Sport House. Crews are working on it as we speak, so if you walk down the entire length of the Southwest Greenway after our ribbon cutting, you can see it. Please take a look at it. It is a beautiful sight. Right now, I'd like to introduce Mr. Ethan Davidson, Director of William Davidson Foundation, up to say a few words. Ethan?
How's everybody doing today out there? All right, thank God. Well, on behalf of the board and the staff of the William Davidson Foundation, we're just so thrilled to be part of this and to be a partner here. I want to just take a minute to recognize a couple of the professional staff of the William Davidson Foundation, Amanda Emmer and George Jacobson. I want to say no disrespect to the other foundations, the Ralph Wilson Foundation, none of them, but we got the James Brown of foundations. We're the hardest working staff in philanthropy. My father was a man of few words. I got a couple more words than what he had, but some of the words that it occurs to me are really important here. I talk about, and we talk about the foundation. We talk about communal assets, and we talk about belonging. These assets like the Riverfront, the Joe Louis Greenway. These are our communal assets. These are the assets that belong to the people of the city of Detroit, people of this region, and you belong to these assets. It doesn't matter what your race, religion, ability, identity, none of that. You belong in this space, and this space belongs to you. And, we're just so honored to be a part of that and to bet on the leaders and have the great team that Matt and Mark have here, and it's just a real delight for us to be here. So thank you very much for being here today, everybody, and we'll look for you on the Greenway.
Another round of applause for the William Davidson Foundation. Thank you, Ethan. We appreciate everything the William Davidson Foundation has done for our community. And the next partner that I would like, special partner that I'd like to recognize is the Gilbert Family Foundation. The Gilbert Family Foundation is one of the newer foundations in the community. It has not been around as long as the others, but their contributions have been extraordinary. Their significant gift of $10 million to the Unified Greenway, $15 million to the Unified Greenway is a significant one. Join us today in honoring the Executive Director of the Rocket Community Fund and Gilbert Family Foundation, Ms. Laura Granneman. Laura?
Wow, what a beautiful day to be in Detroit, huh? I'm really, really proud to be here with so many amazing partners, and I just wanted to give a little insight into what we at the Gilbert Family Foundation were thinking when we made this incredible investment into the Joe Louis Greenway and the Riverfront Conservancy. As many of you know, 2 years ago, we were really proud to make a $500 million commitment to building opportunity and equity in the city of Detroit. Our strategy starts with stable housing. We believe that a stable home is the foundation for success in all areas of life. But that is often not enough to create economic opportunity and economic mobility. We've been incredibly proud to be part of keeping over 14,000 families in their homes through property tax foreclosure interventions and eviction prevention work. Thank you. And I just wanted to tell you one story about one resident who I think exemplifies why housing interventions are important, but often not the entire picture. A few years ago, 6 years ago, back in 2017, we launched in partnership with the Mayor's Office and United Community Housing Coalition a program called Make It Home. Make It Home is a program that helps renters whose landlords are at risk of losing their property to tax foreclosure. Oftentimes, this leaves our renters incredibly vulnerable to whims of their landlords and uncertain factors. And so we've seen a lot of, unfortunately, eviction and loss of stability as a result of this unfortunate process. So we started a program, Make It Home, that allows our renters to have the first right
of purchasing their properties. So far, over the last 6 years, in partnership with United Community Housing Coalition, we've been able to support 1,400 new homeowners in the city of Detroit who would have lost their homes, but instead got to purchase their properties for an average of $3,500. One of those residents was named Miss Little, and Miss Little lived on the west side. She purchased her property for $4,500, and unfortunately, as soon as she received the deed to her property about a year later, she turned around and sold her property for $20,000. Now, you could argue this was a great opportunity for Miss Little. She received $20,000, and that was incredible. I'm glad that she was able to unlock that equity. But the unfortunate part of the picture is if she would have held on to that home, she probably would have made a bunch more money, right? And we want that family in Detroit. We want people to choose Detroit every day. Miss Little lived 1 block away from Rouge Park. 1 block away. If we all know how many investments the city has made in Rouge Park. And so our investment into the Joe Louis Greenway is meant to support homeowners and renters like Miss Little. We want Detroiters every day to not just stay in Detroit because they have to, but actually want to be here and be able to participate in public spaces like Rouge Park and like the Joe Louis Greenway. So we are proud to announce a $15 million contribution. $10 million of that contribution will go to support the Joe Louis Greenway investment, and $5 will go to support residents like Miss Little. We're going to establish an economic development strategy that ensures that we are inclusive and equitable and keep people in their homes around the Greenway. This will include interventions like property tax foreclosure work, and it will also help our current renters get more opportunities to become homeowners within the footprint of the Joe Louis Greenway. As I said, we're incredibly proud to be part of this amazing partnership, and just a huge thanks to everyone who made today possible, including my team, Darnell Adams and JJ Velez. Thank you so much.
Another round of applause for Gilbert Family Foundation. Thank you, Laura. We look forward to your leadership and the good and charitable work that the Rocket Community Fund and Gilbert Family Foundation have done and continue to do. I'd now like to switch gears and hear from a voice from the community. Rushan Long is one of the most inspiring voices we have in Detroit. Her role in the Joe Louis Greenway Advisory Council and her tireless dedication to bringing the concept of the ambitious project to her fellow residents have made the Joe Louis Greenway a reality. She continues to be a voice to listen to throughout the community, and she is also on the Joe Louis Greenway board. Please welcome Ms. Rushan Long.
Hi, everyone. I had plenty of notes, but they don't usually work when you get to the mic. So I just want to say from the community's perspective, because everybody has said all these wonderful things, and you get a chance to see everybody behind the scenes. We don't often see how these things come about. But I know a lot of you that's been Detroiters for years know that people counted us out. Places like this, abandoned, just like they thought Detroit should be abandoned. Years ago, they told us the last one out, turn the lights out. But we know better because there's good Detroiters here, strong Detroiters here, and we have a Detroit spirit. So as these opportunities came along for my community, the Joe Louis Greenway, at first they asked me to be on the board, to be on the Citizens Advisory Council for the city. They did an excellent job in community engagement, but at the time I had no idea what a Greenway was. But I often say, yes, I'll do it. And when they sent us to Atlanta and I saw what it did for Atlanta, I knew what it could do for us. Many of us have been waiting for change, and this has been an opportunity for that. And once we came back, and the city encouraged us to start telling our residents around these Greenway plans just what this could be about. I have seen so much excitement in my community. I've been in that community for almost all of my 70 years. and see young people have ideas of opening businesses, looking for new housing, just these opportunities. So greenways are bigger than just a bike trail and a walking trail. But what we have to do as Detroiters, and for visitors also and those that live around the area, come and use it. It's no good if we don't utilize it, if we don't promote it. So proud of what the work that people have already done on the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy. It's beautiful. That's why they got it for 3 years straight and running. We want to make this whole 27 miles what people want to come to Detroit to see. One of the things they want to see. But I'm encouraging so many people to come out. It's people in these communities that have never seen this type of development, and they are excited. Yes, we have been walking on the Joe Louis Greenway, and it's not finished either, but we out there because we're excited and we care. And I never want people to think of what you see on the news is what it really Detroit is all about. It is not that. So please, I could have thanked everybody, but Matt already thanked everybody. But I'm so glad for the opportunity, because you can teach an old dog new tricks. They have allowed me to be part of the Joe Louis Greenway Partnership, the Citizens Advisory Council, and there's so many people working behind the scenes that we never see. So be encouraged and be a part of something. Be a part of this. I thank you.
Another round of applause for Rushan, everybody. Thank you for those inspiring words, Rushan. We are fortunate to have you as a voice in our Detroit community. We are also lucky in Detroit to have some of the strongest and most visionary leaders anywhere. One of those leaders is the Honorable Mary Sheffield, President of the Detroit City Council. I'm also pleased to note that she is also a Detroit Riverfront Conservancy board member. As busy as she is, Council President, she still finds time to be involved with numerous organizations and causes. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable President Mary Sheffield.
All right, good afternoon, Detroit. It is such an honor, so excited to be here to share in on this momentous occasion with you all. This truly is a massive undertaking and transformative project, which is a prime example of what's possible with public-private partnerships, true community engagement, and intergovernmental cooperation. So today, we not only are celebrating the opening of this greenway and this huge investment, but we are celebrating what this means for so many Detroiters. Over the last 10 years, serving on the city council, I have heard one central theme from our residents at council sessions, at block club meetings, calling our office, sending us emails, and that is that we need investment in our neighborhoods. We need to bring development and progress to the community and invest in our children, our seniors, and our communities by creating more equitable access to public space and creating more recreational opportunities. Detroit, today's announcement sends a clear signal that we heard you loud and clear, and that your government, our businesses, the philanthropic community, we are united to deliver for you, and I could not be more proud. Again, let's give all of ourselves a round of applause for delivering to the residents of Detroit. We know that blight, poverty, the lack of beautiful outdoor recreation spaces is traumatic, especially for the most vulnerable in our community, our children and seniors. I firmly believe that this historic investment in our park space, in our greenway, will help address the root causes of these issues, creating a sense of pride that helps alleviate the mental anguish of decades of disinvestment in our communities. This will lead to fostering better relationships with our neighbors, inject a sense of vibrancy back into our neighborhoods by bringing some of the most neglected areas of our city back to life. And it'll also lead to current residents choosing to stay in their neighborhoods and also attracting new residents, especially those who are looking to raise a family. Yeah. This greenway, as was mentioned earlier, is way more than just a bike path. Urban greenways play a vital role in the social, economic, and physical well-being of our city and our residents. It is a symbol of our collective commitment to creating a city that is accessible to all, and a testament to the hard work of our community partners who have dedicated countless hours to make this project a reality. As we stand here today, we can all see, as we look around, the progress that the city has made in recent years. 40,000 people will be within a 10-minute walking pathway of the Greenway, connecting 23 neighborhoods across our city and creating opportunities for residents to bike, walk, and run throughout our city. Also, increasing access to the beautiful DeQuinder Cut. How many of you all been down to the DeQuinder Cut? One of my favorites. And then, of course, my all-time favorite, the world-class Detroit Riverwalk. Additionally, as someone who has embarked upon my own personal wellness and health journey, not only do I want an economically viable Detroit, I also want a healthy Detroit and sustainable city. And I know that our outdoor spaces like this will help improve overall public health. And so I am grateful for all the donors and partners that worked tirelessly and invested the funding to bring this amazing vision to life. This funding will allow us to continue our efforts to create a city that is vibrant, sustainable, and equitable for all residents. Through this partnership, it will truly become one of Detroit's and our state's crown jewels for generations to come. Again, I am grateful to be here and looking forward to enjoying this beautiful Riverwalk in Greenway. Thank you so much.
Another round of applause for the Honorable President Sheffield. Thank you so much for your leadership and support always. As you all know, Wayne County is led by County Executive Warren Evans. He's not able to join us today, but sends his well wishes. But we are proud to welcome Deputy County Executive Asad Turfy with us today. Under the leadership of Mr. Evans and Mr. Turfy, Wayne County is perhaps one of the most well-managed counties, not only in our state, but around the country. This county's generous support of not only the revitalization of the riverfront, but also the Unified Greenway Campaign is incredibly important to their success. Please allow me to introduce Wayne County Deputy Executive Asad Turfy. Asad.
Well, thank you, Will Smith. He's got a name that you can't forget. So, well, isn't today beautiful? You know, the one thing that makes us proud at Wayne County is our diversity. And what makes us even more proud is the connectivity of our diversity, connecting our communities together. And what this symbol here is, this greenway, is the connectivity, connecting communities together. Everyone talked about the 27 miles that we're looking at the greenway. Looking forward to it. It's great. Parks is definitely a priority of County Executive Warren Evans. We believe in our green spaces. We believe in our spaces. We learned more than ever during COVID how important these green spaces are. For many times when I get tired at the office and I need like some time to walk away and kind of clear my mind, I always walk the riverfront. And I started my career in Wayne County 20 years ago in law enforcement. I used to walk the pathway over by the riverfront, and I always thought how cooler would it be to continue going east. And now today that's a symbol of that, and it's a beautiful event. The partnership and all this couldn't have happened without the work of the great mayor of the city of Detroit, Mayor Mike Duggan, the governor's office, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, and all our community partners. We have Chairwoman Bell here, our chairwoman of the Wayne County Commission, which is a great partner. Everything that we do, we work together, we work together. We've heard those words today. It's very important. So looking forward to cut the ribbon, and I'm going to walk about a half mile of this greenway today. So thank you, and God bless you.
Another round of applause for Mr. Assad Turfy. Thank you for all of your support and the support from Wayne County. As we begin to come to the conclusion of our formal remarks, I'm incredibly pleased that we have representation from the state of Michigan, Governor Gretchen Whitmer's office with us today. Under the leadership of Governor Whitmer, as well as that of Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist, who's also on our board, Michigan is prospering. We are the Great Lakes, and great things are happening. We are here to celebrate two of those today. One, the grand opening of the Southwest Greenway. A major milestone in funding for the Unified Greenway Campaign. We wouldn't be able to celebrate without the support of the state of Michigan. Joining us today, representing Governor Whitmer's office is Ms. Kim Trent, Director of Prosperity, because we definitely are prosperous down here on the riverfront. Director of Prosperity for the Michigan Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity, Ms. Kim Trent.
Thank you so much, Will. It is such a pleasure for me to be here representing Governor Whitmer today. And I can't help but think about 15 years ago when I was a board member for the Riverfront Conservancy. And we had a board tour of what was then just an abandoned railroad line on the east side of Detroit. And they kept telling us about this vision for something they were calling the DeQuinder Cut. And all I was concerned about that day was not encountering the animals and reptiles they told us might be down there, because we were walking through waist-high grasses and weeds at the time. And when I think about how far we've come since that day, I feel so incredibly proud of our city, of the philanthropy in our town, and the leadership that has made it possible with the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy, which is truly one of Detroit's best nonprofits. And I'm so very proud to have been affiliated and proud to take advantage of the work that you do every day. It seems like just about every day we're celebrating a new building or a new road being fixed, a new trail being announced here in the city of Detroit, because we are a city that's on the move. Today's announcement is pairing with Unified Greenway's announcement that they have raised another $70 million in order to support the Detroit Riverfront and the Joe Louis Greenway, and that's $229 million in less than 2 years. The technical term for that is BFD. As I want to just talk about how bit by bit, with projects like this, we are making Michigan a better place to live, work, and invest. And we do this work for our kids. My son Jackson spent 13 of his 15 years living just a block away from the DeQuinder Cut and a half mile away from the Detroit Riverwalk. And it was on the DeQuinder Cut that he learned how to ride a bike. It was where his passion for graphic arts was stoked by the beautiful art that we see on the walls of the riverfront. It was there that he witnessed Detroit's great diversity, and it's where he really got an abiding appreciation for our city's natural and man-made beauty. Although we moved to Northwest Detroit a few years ago, I have to say that our hearts still feel the pull of the Detroit River and all the beautiful amenities that have sprung up around it in recent years. But whether Detroiters live near a greenway today or are visiting it like we are all today, I think that we should feel tremendous pride in places like this greenway. And my family knows firsthand what a project like this will mean for Detroiters. I have another selfish reason to be excited about this project. I believe that this greenway is the kind of amenity that I can try to leverage to keep my son here when he graduates from college. I can imagine him getting a good paying, high-skilled job in the city and using miles and miles of picturesque trail to get around the town and to introduce his own children to the city that we love. I imagine him feeling like he's part of a strong community that has his back. That's what we want for all of our children, and I'm so proud of the Riverfront Conservancy and all of its supporters for bringing it to us today. Thank you.
Another round of applause for Ms. Kim Trent. Thank you. Thank you, Kim, and thank you for all you do the state of Michigan, DNR, Eagle, MDOT, Mr. Robert Davis out. Our next speaker really needs no introduction, but I'm going to give it a try. Mayor Mike Duggan is the 75th mayor of Detroit. We've been fortunate to have him in the office and to benefit from his leadership since 2014. Under his leadership, neighborhoods are thriving. Downtown Detroit is bustling, and our parks are becoming the envy of cities throughout the country. Several mayors before him have had hands in bringing the dream of a revitalized riverfront to reality, but during Mayor Duggan's tenure, the riverfront is flourishing. We are fortunate to count the city of Detroit as one of the Conservancy's 3 launching partners, along with General Motors and the Kresge Foundation, and blessed to have Mayor Mike Duggan as our mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Mike Duggan.
Well, the really good news is I'm the last speaker. But everything that you heard today, it was worthy of the time we've spent here. This is history. The people who are sitting there have reshaped the history of Detroit through their commitment and through their force of personality. And I would tell you that for more than 100 years, the people of Southwest Detroit experienced the riverfront negatively. If you talk to somebody from Southwest Detroit about the riverfront, what do they think about? It is noise, it is odors, it is traffic. You never talk to anybody from Southwest Detroit about the riverfront and they said beauty, recreation. It didn't exist. It wasn't even a dream. This year, I was so pleased when Brad Dick and the Parks Department completed the spectacular Riverside Park down underneath the Ambassador Bridge. The crowds we have seen already this year have been tremendous. It has become the jewel of Southwest Detroit. But very shortly, we're about to have another jewel. We're going to open Roosevelt Park out in front of Ford's Michigan train station, and I will predict it will become the most photographed location anywhere in the city. And so now we got a new gem, except that within a year, Riverside Park and Roosevelt Park are going to be eclipsed by Dave Egner's Ralph Wilson Park, which is going to be even more spectacular. And today, the Southwest Greenway is being dedicated that is going to connect Roosevelt Park and the train station to that Wilson Park. It is almost indescribable the way the future of this city is going to be shaped by what's here. And I just want to have a special note for a fellow who's not here, Jim Farley, the CEO of Ford. When I sat with him and he started on the train station, I said, okay, I want to make sure we have a shared vision. What's your biggest priority? And you know what Jim Farley said to me? People think about the train station as being on Michigan Avenue. I see the train station as the gateway to Southwest Detroit, and everything we do should recognize that tie. And look what happened. Ford has supported. Ford has done it. And so we do believe in a vision. And if you had asked Roshan Long, you asked people of Southwest Detroit about their neighborhood 10 years ago, they'd say, we've been forgotten, right? That's what you would have said, right? She said it to me back when I walked those streets. Today, with the way that we are rebuilding, those neighborhoods are truly moving from blight to beauty. And I just have the most heartfelt thank you to every one of you and all of you behind the scenes up there. A whole lot of folks up there did it as well. Give yourselves a hand. This is a great day for the city.
Another round of applause for our Honorable Mayor Duggan. Thank you, Mayor Duggan, for your leadership. The Conservancy is a proud partner of the City of Detroit in the Joe Louis Greenway Partnership and its extraordinary Unified Greenway Campaign. We've come to the end, folks. Thank you all for coming today. Thank you to all my speakers. Thank you for all my funders, for your generosity, your support of the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy, the Southwest Greenway, the Joe Louis Greenway, and the Unified Greenway Campaign. That completes our formal remarks for today. I know you're all anxious to cut the ribbon, grab a free churro, and explore the Southwest Greenway, right? Thank you all for coming today and celebrating this special day with us. Please, dignitaries, join me to the right for the ribbon cutting, for some photos, and then enjoy Detroit's newest public space, the Southwest Greenway.
Come on, guys. People behind you. Guys in the front. Wait a minute, 1 second. All right, 3, 2, 1. Go.